This episode of the Creep Street Podcast is brought to you by Martini Coffee Roasters. You know, people always look at me weird when I say I start off every morning with a big old martini. But then I set them straight, and I tell them I'm talking about Martini Coffee Roasters coffee. A delicious coffee made by the Martini family. They roast their coffee using a traditional method of sight and sound to roast those little babies to perfection. And they also sell green coffee beans for those home roasters out there. And right now, fans of the Creep Street Podcast can get 20% off their entire order by using the code CREEPSTREET at martinicoffee.com. Once again, for 20% off your order, use the code CREEPSTREET at martinicoffee.com. Martini Coffee Roasters, the perfect coffee to keep you creeps caffeinated.
You've taken a wrong turn down Creep Street.
Citizens of the Milky Way, my name is Dylan Hackworth.
I'm Maureen Bogey.
And you have arrived at the Creep Street Podcast, folks.
Woo!
Real quick up top, follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Creep Street Podcast, Twitter at Creep Street Pod. We also have a Threads. We have a TikTok. And of course, if once a week is not enough for you, just head on over to patreon.com/Creep Street Podcast for all sorts of goodies.
Yes, indeed.
And in fact, we have a special one-time shout out to a new Patreon subscriber.
Oh my gosh, we love you already.
Give it on up for the Slayer, Sarah Thompson.
Woo-hoo.
Sarah, thank you for joining our Patreon. We are so happy to have you as part of the Creep Street Homeowners Association.
That's right. Thank you so much. You are so appreciated. We are so grateful for you. And we hope you enjoy that sick bonus content.
That's right. And if you want to be just like Sarah, head on over to patreon.com/Creep Street Podcast. Now, last week we gave them cursed cards.
We sure did. We went for it.
And boy, oh boy, it was a photo finish.
It really was. And it made me realize I actually have my own little story about a cursed car.
Oh.
And we'll save that for the Patreon.
Absolutely. I would love to hear that.
Yes.
Now, this week, though, we're going off-road.
We're getting wild.
Off-land.
Big time.
Maureen, what are we talking about this week?
Okay, everyone. This episode is genuinely, it's fucked.
Oh, boy.
Today, we are talking about sea monsters. What's Kraken? We do like to have fun.
Yes. Now, Mo, go ahead and bathe us in those salty saltwater sources.
Absolute. Okay, so here's the thing. We have 10 million sources this week. Actually, not that many, obviously, but, a good amount.
Yeah.
So here we go. We have a couple articles, one called What is a Kraken? Ruby Gillman's Sea Monster History from sci-fi.com. Then we have sea monsters and their inspirations, serpents, mermaids, and that is over at the Natural History Museum. Then we have The Scariest Monsters of the Deep Sea. That's at smithsonianmag.com. Then we have some wonderful YouTube videos, okay? First, we have 5 scary and strange sea creatures. The proof is out there, and that is on the History Channel's YouTube channel. And let me tell you, I'm excited that I found this show called The Proof is Out There because I'm gonna tune in.
Absolutely. It was actually really interesting.
I had a damn blast. I learned. Great production value.
Yeah.
I can't recommend it highly enough. It's probably not, current anymore. Like, they're probably not currently making episodes, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, go check it out, folks.
Then we have, of course, we love her. We've mentioned her many times, Dr. Emily Zarka with Monstrum. And that video is called Release the Kraken, Origins of the Legendary Sea Monster. Then we have 50 Mythical Sea Creatures from Around the World by Wild Mythology. We've got The Kraken, exploring the origins behind the legendary sea monster. That's from Mythology and Fiction Explained. And then we're going to take it back to articles a little bit. We got yokai.com, all of the Monterey Bay Aquarium's website.
Okay.
And you know we're tossing in Reddit.
Yes, please.
So here's the deal. I was thinking of, something to do for summer.
Yeah, absolutely, because we are in August. We are in what is, I guess you would say, the last month of summer, even though it technically, it's not till like later September that it's technically fall. I always think of August as the Sunday of summer.
Yeah, I agree.
You know what I mean?
I completely agree, and that's why I wanted to do something fun. I wanted to, do something that would maybe encapsulate the time.
Absolutely.
Now, is this it? I don't know, but I gave it my best shot.
Please.
And I just thought, the sea, we're swimming, we're on vacation, all sorts of things are going on. But there's also another reason why I picked this topic. And that's because I really wanted to give it to you. I wanted to be real with you all. And I wanted to, really be right there with you and let you know that we put you guys through so much scary shit week after week. I need to do it for myself, for you guys.
Folks, this is by far, for Maureen, the most frightening topic we have covered.
My chest is tight right now. Literally, I am physically...
But looking good.
Thank you so much.
They're looking good.
I'm not one to turn down a compliment, so I'm going to accept it. I'm going to say thanks, but I know that inside I feel like jumping out of my own skin and just dying. I am so afraid of open water and being under deep water. I can't do it. It scares the fuck out of me. I'm going to say I hate whales, okay? I know everyone loves whales, and whales are so majestic and wonderful, and I get it. And listen, I don't wish anything bad against whales. I wish them well, honestly.
Of course!
I hope they're happy. I hope they're protected. If you kill a whale, don't do that.
Yeah!
You're an asshole. But I don't want to be anywhere near them, ever.
No.
I'm a lake gal. I grew up, I'm from the Midwest, for Christ's sakes.
That's right.
So yeah, this is a lot for me. And it may be a lot for all of you out there. I know that this is a common fear, not necessarily the whales, but the, just open water.
Yes, it is.
So this might be freaking out. This might be a hitting some nerves for some people out there. And just know that we are with you. We're there holding your hand.
Absolutely.
And I would like us to begin with an excerpt from a poem.
Below the thunders of the upper deep, far, far beneath the abysmal sea, his ancient, dreamless, uninvaded sleep, the Kraken sleepeth. Faintest sunlights flee about his shadowy sides. Above him swell huge sponges of millennial growth and height, and far away into the sickly light, from many a wonder's grot and secret cell, unnumbered and enormous polypi, winnow with giant arms the slumbering green. There hath he lain for ages, and will lie, battening upon huge sea worms in his sleep, until the latter fire shall heat the deep. Then, once by man and angels to be seen, in roaring he shall rise, and on the surface die. Alfred Tennyson, 1830.
It makes me think of the Cthulhu mythos. It makes me think of Lovecraft a little bit.
Big time. Which is interesting because, as we'll learn here in a second, the origins of the Kraken go way before Lovecraft's time.
Of course, yes.
So, we have to assume that Lovecraft really got inspiration from the Kraken.
I would have to think he did.
They are very different things, but there's so many things about them that are similar, too.
Yeah, for sure.
And we'll talk about that a little bit here later on. Now, the Kraken, it has a place in the American, and I would say the world at large, in their zeitgeist, in the psyche. It's very big. People know what the Kraken is. They maybe have heard a Kraken story. I mean, there is this new movie coming out about the teenage Kraken.
Oh, that's
or that maybe
right.
already did come out, I think. But it does look fun, though. We'll have to watch it.
Cute.
We'll do a little review on the Patreon.
Yeah.
And of course, there's also the Seattle hockey team is called the Kraken, or the Krakens. I don't know.
I think it's Kraken singular.
Hell yeah.
Like they come together to make the Kraken.
Fuck yeah. I actually really like that. Of course, it's mentioned in Clash of Titans, a.k.a. Release the Kraken.
Yes, I think I know that it was a film, there was an original film, but I think in recent memory, most of us can remember hearing Liam Neeson shout, "Release the Kraken."
Oh, yeah.
Release the Kraken.
And I mean, wow, what a voice.
In a thunderous Irish tenor.
We love it.
And a soothing Irish brogue.
Honestly, though, yeah, we love it. And of course, there have been countless other references in, Pirates of the Caribbean and all over the damn place in modern pop culture. But the Kraken's origins, as some of you may have surmised, comes way before the modern era.
Way back.
Come on, big time. The first time we have a written account, which means there probably were many accounts for a long time before this.
Yeah.
But the first written account we have goes back to about 1180, so we're going back a while.
Whoa! All right.
And it was written by the man who would come to be the king of Norway, King Sverre. He told of this kraken that would swim around the coasts of Norway, Greenland, and Iceland. And this huge sea beast absolutely wreaked havoc on all of, not every single one, but many ships going around in the northern Atlantic.
Oh, yes.
The northern Atlantic, the Arctic Ocean, that whole zone. And you know what? It makes sense why it would happen here, because back in this time, and even honestly now still, but especially at the time, the sea was the way. That's how that's how they traveled. That's how they got their food. That's how they did their trade. That's how they did everything. And the Vikings, for Christ's sake, they love this stuff.
Yeah.
And so it makes sense that they would have some sort of folklore or sightings or any whatever you may call it of a sea monster.
Right.
Now, for those of you who don't know what the Kraken looks like, it has changed a little over time. In the original text that we have from King Sverre, I don't even know, honestly, if there was much of a physical description. There was a little bit, but nothing too much. But over time and throughout the ages, it has kind of turned into basically just a huge, beyond huge squid.
Oh, yeah. Big old squid.
Yeah, it looks just like a squid. It's got the squid's fucked up head, the goddamn legs, arms, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
The suction cup tentacle bullshit. So you can tell I really don't like this.
They're ugly fuckers.
I don't like it. I won't even eat calamari. I won't do it. I have, but I won't anymore. Not for a long time. I haven't, because it freaks me out. And that's just me.
Nothing like a little deep fried kraken.
Won't do it. Simply won't. And the Kraken was so big that it could capsize a ship easily. It could reach up and grab sailors from off the deck. It could just absolutely wreak havoc.
That's right.
Kill many people.
Give you a little pinch, a little squeeze, goose you.
It might goose you, which I hate to hear. Author Victor Hugo, I think, described them in a very succinct and accurate way, in my opinion. And we're going to get into this in just a second. There are obviously, or maybe not obviously, maybe you don't know. Maybe I'm telling you this horrible news for the first time, that there are absolutely fucking huge squid, whatever, in the ocean all over the world.
There's some nasty things in those depths.
Oh my God. But the Kraken is on another level, like truly monstrous, wild levels. But as I said, it comes from truth. And the reason why the Kraken looks the way that it does is probably because those sailors way back in the day actually saw these giant squid, which sucks.
Yeah.
Now, there are giant squid and there are colossal squid.
Okay.
And these things make me so angry.
Yeah.
And I think Victor Hugo wrote in the 1800s, this quote is very succinct and describes accurately how many people feel about these creatures. These animals are indeed phantoms as much as monsters. They are proved and yet improbable.
Wow.
And I mean, that is true because these motherfuckers, they live deep. They're deep in the ocean.
They are.
People have seen them wash ashore for a while, all these things, but you don't see them that often because they're usually pretty deep. But giant squid can be up to 43 feet in length, while as the colossal squid can be up to 49 feet in length and weigh over 1,000 pounds.
Okay, there was something funny about the difference between the giant and the colossal is 6 feet.
I know, I don't really know why, and I think maybe it's because, if I had to guess, it's because overall the colossal are much bigger than the giant. Those are just kind of the biggest of each kind that they've found.
So there's probably bigger.
Yeah, and there's probably bigger because I think it's only like 500 or something like that of giant/colossal squid that have ever been recorded.
Right.
So I mean, that's not a lot. That's not enough to really get a real, sample size.
Exactly.
I mean, they probably are bigger.
Wow.
Than that, and that just is horrible news. And if anyone tries to tell me that I don't need to worry about this because I'm never going down there and I'm never going to see one, I don't f***ing care. That's not what it's about. It's about the fact that it exists.
Yeah.
And I don't like it. All right? Jesus Christ. Now, as I said before, these guys are very, very deep. They usually live or swim between about 200 and 1,400 meters deep.
Whoa, okay.
That's pretty damn deep.
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, they actually are known for fighting sperm whales.
Jesus God.
I literally feel like I'm gonna throw. I'm actually feel like I'm gonna throw up.
Yeah, that's nasty.
And we know that these big ass squid and sperm whales fight because we have found, and by we I mean others, that I'm not a part of this, thank God, they have found body parts of squid inside the bellies of sperm whales. And sperm whales, not all of them, but many, have scars all over their body from the barbed suction cups on the tentacles of these squid.
That's just nasty.
It's so heinous. Why does that exist?
Yeah.
And there's something about these oh my God, I just got really dizzy and I almost passed out. I haven't told you guys one of the worst parts about these things.
Okay.
And it's true for octopuses too. They have fucking beaks.
Yeah, that's right. That's so weird.
The beak's like on a fucking bird.
Wow.
It's in their little hole in the center where I kind of just assumed was kind of their butthole or, pussy hole or whatever the fuck. No, it's a mouth and it's a beak.
Ugh. Ugh.
I hate it. And I hate that so much. That's so gross. Here in my notes, I wrote, "Oh my God, squid's eyes, I'm genuinely shaking."
Yeah, squid's eyes are wild.
Oh my God, they're so big. They're like as big as a fucking soccer ball, and they're just voids. I hate them. I don't like thinking about them. I hate that I know what they look like. It's just dog shit,
Yeah.
in my opinion. So even though I said that these guys live way, way down deep, and they do, they have been known to wash ashore. And sometimes maybe they may float up to the surface for whatever reason. I don't think that they would be able to survive near the surface. I don't think there's like a high enough oxygen content in the water.
I was going to
like
say, a lot of these things probably have to stay down deep.
Right.
Because of just pressure and whatnot.
And whatever the fuck, yeah.
Yeah.
So even though they do stay down there, they have been up top, and that is how the people of Northern Europe, I think, got the idea for the Kraken. And I don't think that I could be wrong, but I don't really think that the Kraken was just kind of a fun, spooky idea.
Yeah, no, I
They really
hear ya.
believed in it because, so much shit happens in the ocean, especially back then. I'm sure it happened all the time where these ships would go out and then they would just never come back.
Right, for sure.
Yeah, so it's scary shit. Overall, the Kraken, a big-ass squid.
Wow. Just nasty, nasty.
And a part of the reason why these big-ass squids even exist, and once again, I unfortunately don't mean an actual Kraken. Not unfortunately, I guess fortunately. It's because of this idea or this phenomenon, or however, I don't know even what you would really call it, but it's deep sea gigantism. which basically is the idea that many deep sea swimming creatures tend to be a lot larger than maybe animals or creatures that are closer to the surface of the water. And it's not like a hard and fast rule. It's not like everything down there is huge.
Right, there's small shit down there too.
Right. But there are, it seems, just an insane amount of really big bullshit down there. There are some possible explanations for this, including dissolved oxygen concentrations, the colder temperatures, food scarcity, the pressure, basically everything that's just about what it's like to be down there. And as far as I could tell, it seems like there's not really a confirmed reason why. It's really just theories why this happens. But yeah, it happens.
That's interesting. I wonder why food scarcity would make them bigger.
Yeah, I don't know. I was wondering that too.
Yeah.
I don't really get it, but who knows? If anyone out there, if you're a marine biologist listening, let us know. Email us, reach out on social media, anything. We want to know more. I mean, not really, but people do. I don't, but others will. So now that we have talked about the Kraken, I think it would be, I just think we gotta talk about some other sea monsters from other cultures around the world.
Let's sprinkle them in.
Well, first, I think we should talk about, as we already mentioned, Cthulhu.
Oh, I didn't realize he was going to pop up.
Oh, just a little bit. For those of you who aren't familiar with H.P. Lovecraft, he kind of has his own kind of universe in a way.
Yeah, yes.
And Cthulhu is one of the big players in it.
Yes.
There's this idea that there are these beings that are way down deep that are being awoken and will wreak havoc.
Yes.
Similar to what, we heard about the Kraken before.
Both in the sea and in the sky, in the ocean.
Yes.
I think it's called cosmicism is what he wrote, was cosmic horror, was what he is kind of often attributed to.
Yes. Cthulhu, just like Dylan said, was a cosmic entity. And here is a description of Cthulhu in Lovecraft's own words. A monster of vaguely anthropoid outline, but with an octopus-like head, whose face was a mass of feelers, a scaly, rubbery-looking body, prodigious claws on hind and 4 feet, and long, narrow wings behind. So yeah, it's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough. That's scary as fuck. And even though this isn't really something from folklore per se, this is just, more so just fiction.
Right.
I still wanted to include it because it's such a kind of an amalgamation of so many different stories of different beings that can be found underwater. And it plays a really big part in modern creature features.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it definitely required a shout out. But next we have a being from Inuit mythology, and it is called the Aklut. And I didn't say it at the top, but of course, so sorry once again if anything is mispronounced. There aren't too many words in here that I think will be an issue, but there are a few, and we're trying our best, as you know.
As always.
Now, this being is very interesting to me, and I wrote it down or made sure to talk about it because even though it, of course, is horrifying, and it would be very scary to see one of these guys, I feel a little bit better because it is the combination of a wolf and an orca whale.
Interesting. Okay. Land and sea. A little bit of surf and turf.
There we go. You get a bargain. I know both of these guys, these animals, are major predators. They're killing machines. So I should be scared of them. However, wolves are dogs, in my opinion. Therefore, they're cute.
Yeah.
I understand that they're not literally dogs, but they're dog adjacent, and I just really like wolves. I've always liked them a lot. They're very fascinating. I like their energy, and of course, I like that they created dogs.
Yeah.
Or ended up becoming dogs.
Absolutely.
And orca whales. Here's the thing about orca whales. I know it doesn't really make any sense. Those are the whales that should scare me because those are the ones that actually could fuck me up. But orca whales don't scare me as much just because I know what they're up to. I know. They're upfront about it.
For sure.
They're upfront. They're letting you know, like, hey, I'm going to do this. I'm also into, like sinking yachts now. I work together with a squad. And I just know what to expect. Also, I know they are huge. They're not as big as like a sperm whale or a humpback whale. And really, it's the size of those whales that really freaks me out.
Yeah, no, I get that.
And I also grew up watching Free Willy.
Of course.
So that kind of helps. So even though, of course, this is a very scary creature, this auklet, but those were the reasons why I thought I could handle talking about it. American naturalist Edward William Nelson wrote this about the auklet in the year 1900. It is described as being similar in form to the killer whale and is credited with the power of changing at will to a wolf. After roaming about over the land, it may return to the sea and again become a whale. While in the wolf form, it is known by the above name, and the Inuit say they know that this change takes place as they have seen wolf tracks leading to the edge of the sea ice and ending at the water or beginning at the edge of the water and leading to the shore. These animals are said to be very fierce and kill men.
Wow.
So you better watch out.
Watch your back, folks.
Watch your effing back. Even though I said this isn't as scary. It is. It's just mentally I can handle it better.
Sort of similar. Reminds me of that water horse thing we've talked about.
Yes.
That will carry kids to their doom.
Yes. And I'm glad you brought that up because that also reminds me that there are a bunch of other water spirits, water beings, water creatures that I didn't mention. We'll definitely do, a Sea Monsters Part 2 at some point. And also, I kind of want to separate the sea monster from the lake monster because there are many lake monsters.
Very good point, Maureen.
And, the Loch Ness monster, Loch is lake, that's technically a lake monster.
Yeah.
And we did an episode on the Loch Ness monster, so go ahead, if you're interested, go back and listen to that app.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to this. Next, we have a very spooky yokai, a Japanese yokai. We've talked about a lot about yokai lately.
Yeah.
And this one is called Bake Kujira. And these are so strange and spooky. They are essentially animated skeletons of whales, like whole, complete skeletons of whales.
Oh, wow.
That are moving, swimming, doing the whole thing, just their skeletons instead of, a whole body. And there are a few different reasons why this can happen, but it seems like the main reason is because, when in these small fishing villages back in the day, if they were able to kill a whale, it would mean so much to the whole community.
Oh, food. It would mean
food,
clothing,
oil.
Yeah. You're right.
Candles, all sorts of things came from whales back then. And, of course, I'm very happy, even though fuck whales, I am very happy that, whaling is overall frowned upon or outlawed over much of the world, at least.
But back then, one whale meant an entire restaurant and a gift shop.
Yeah, at least. And so the idea is that these Bake Kujira are the souls, the ghosts of these whales that were killed. Not only is that just spooky, they also would infect anyone who saw it with a horrible curse. The people would bring it back to their villages when they returned back to land, and they would bring back to their village famine, fire, disasters, plagues, all sorts of bad shit.
That's not good.
I'd consider it a net negative.
Yeah.
And I would love to listen to a story about the Bake Kujira right now.
One rainy night long ago, some fishers living on the Shimane Peninsula witnessed an enormous white shape off the coast of the Sea of Japan. Squinting their eyes, it appeared to them to be a whale swimming offshore. Excited for the catch, they rallied the townspeople who grabbed their spears and harpoons and took to their boats to hunt down and catch their quarry. They soon reached the whale, but no matter how many times they hurled their weapons, not one of them struck true. When they looked closer, through the dark, rain-spattered water's surface, they realized why. What they thought was a white whale was actually a humongous skeleton swimming in the sea. It lacked even a single bit of flesh on its body. At that moment, the sea became alive with a host of strange fish that nobody had ever seen before. The sky swarmed with eerie birds which nobody could recognize, and the likes of which had never been seen before. The ghost whale then turned sharply out to sea and swiftly vanished into the current, taking all the strange fish and birds with it, never to be seen again. The terrified villagers returned home, realizing that the skeletal whale must have been a Bakekujira, a whale turned into a vengeful ghost. While the Bakekujira was never seen again, other villages in Shimane felt the whale's curse. They were consumed by conflagrations and plagued by the infectious diseases that followed whale beachings.
Big shout out there to yokai.com.
Yes.
They do a great job of offering, they don't do it for every yokai, but a lot of the yokai, they, have these great legends or stories attached. Highly recommend you check it out. Next in my notes, I wrote, I'm living in my nightmare and I'm doing it for the citizens of the Milky Way.
We do it all for the citizens, folks.
I did this for you, and I hope you appreciate it.
Amen.
Like I said before, there are so many sea monsters. We'll definitely do a part 2, maybe even a part 3, who knows. But now I think it's time, and this is why I said I'm living in my nightmare, I think it's time for us to talk about some real sea monsters.
Oh!
Yeah, we already talked about the giant/colossal squid, but there's a few other things that, if I'm really trying to do a horror podcast, I think we should talk about.
Please!
There are, so many. Literally everything in the ocean except for, clownfish are fucking horrifying, and dolphins are chill.
For sure.
I mean, they're fucked up, but they're pretty. So I could say a lot here, but here are some big things to talk about. First of all, I think we should talk about, or at least mention, the megalodon.
Okay, yeah.
Which is the inspiration for the fantastic movie, The Meg.
Yeah, I've never seen it.
I actually have never seen it. I don't know if honestly, it doesn't look great, but I could be wrong.
I think Rainn Wilson's in the first one.
Oh, hell yeah. Then let's watch it. Basically, if you don't know, the megalodon is a huge shark. And it did exist at one point, way back in the damn day. I'm assuming around the same time as dinosaurs roamed the earth, but I actually could be wrong about that. But it is widely believed, / it's pretty much confirmed, that they have, died out long ago. The megalodon are no longer here. But just to give you a little bit of an idea about how big these sharks were, a great white shark is usually about 21 feet long.
Okay, wow.
The megalodon, nearly 60 feet long.
Okay. See, that's the difference I was expecting when when it was the giant squid and the colossal squid.
Yeah. I think they kind of, they, in terms of naming giant versus colossal was, and like I said, I think those were what I mentioned, the lengths of the giant and the colossal, those were the longest recorded of each. I'm sure the average giant squid is a good deal smaller than the average colossal squid, but still.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the megalodon was fucking huge. It really bothers me that something like that ever existed, honestly.
Ugh.
Oh my god, I do think there is another squid we need to talk about.
Please, I am ready. Serve it up.
It's called the big fin squid. Also, I think it's also called the magnapina or magnapina. I could be saying that wrong, but it's basically another fucking huge-ass squid.
Yikes.
Except this one, the head of it or whatever, isn't quite as long, and it's the tentacles or arms or legs or whatever you want to call it are so long.
Ugh.
They're so long that they are believed to be 13 to 26 feet long. And that's just the arms.
Jeez.
I know, isn't that such horrible news? And they are kind of held outside of their body a little bit. They're not just dangling below. And when they are kind of pushing out before they go down, what the word for that is, which I hate, is an elbow. So we have to deal with squids with elbows now.
Oh, great. Which means they have funny bones.
Oh, brother, they're coming for our fucking jobs. That's the last thing we need. We need AI and big fin squid.
Yeah. AI and squid eye.
Oh, literally, I'm upset about all of it. Now, I've got 2 more facts about this squid that just are the worst. 1, we don't know how this squid feeds yet, or what it feeds on.
Yeah. Ugh. And also just the word feeds.
Yeah, I hate it. I hate that I said that. I apologize. The other horrible news, we've only documented juvenile big fin squid. So they could be much bigger.
Oh my gosh.
They're
And
going
by
to be-
juvenile,
Yeah.
we mean their manners.
Oh, they're so juvenile.
They're so juvenile.
Oh my God. Send them straight to juvie.
Grow up.
Seriously.
Get a haircut and put on a tie.
And there are some other fucked up squid too. There's also the Humboldt squid, and just them themselves aren't too bad, but they roll in a pack of about 1,000 deep.
Whoa. Oh.
1,000.
And they're all big guys.
Yeah, I mean they're not huge, but they're big enough. They're like 4 to 6 feet long.
And there's thousands of them in one. Yeah. Oh.
And they like travel in a pod sometimes. 1,000. I would just die. I would perish. I would perish. There are also giant isopods down there, which are basically just huge cockroaches. I mean, huge.
ISO not interested.
That was good. That's why they come back. That's why the people come back.
I'm feeling...
You're feeling kind of sassy today. I can
Yeah.
tell. Yeah.
What has gotten into me?
I don't know. I think it's just the waves of Creep Street, of the knowledge is just it's bathing you. It's crashing all over you.
It is. Good golly.
Now, I wrote here, my ears hurt like my ear canals. That's just something that kind of happens to me when I'm reading or watching something that just is the worst.
Yeah.
These are just a few of the creatures you can find down there. There are so many fucked up fish. If you really want to see some fucked up fish, look up the Barents Sea. It is a sea off of Russia. Now, a lot of nuclear waste has been dropped or poured into the sea.
Oh, boy.
And the fish that are in there look so weird. Now, these fish probably don't look super weird because of the nuclear waste. It's probably coincidence.
Oh, God.
But just Google some of these fish. They're so insane. And some of it is because of the pressure from when they go from so down deep that when they come up, their bodies can't handle it. So sometimes their stomachs will come out of their mouths.
Yeah.
So that's how fishermen find them. So they're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, because that was what one of the sources said, was it's essentially they have the bends.
Yeah. But some of them really do just, even outside of that, look so fucked up. And one of them looks like it has human teeth. It's just so bad.
Ugh.
It's really bad. So if you feel up to it, Google Barents Sea fucked up fish. Or you don't have to say fucked up fish, but something like that. Now to take us home, take us back to land, we've just got one more spooky story from a Reddit user called Stalik Elite. Oftentimes in the Navy, I'd stand on the fantail and watch the ocean. Once we had hundreds, probably 400 dolphins riding the carrier's wake. They followed us for 3 days. In the middle of the Pacific, it's so dark and there's so little light pollution, you can see the reds, browns, and faint blues of gas clouds in the starscape. Another time, I was watching the water at night. They say it draws you in, and it really does. You look at this pitch black void, with only the wake or turbulence of the water catching light, and intrusive thoughts of jumping in just naturally occur. It's mesmerizing, especially if you're alone. At night during one of these events, I saw blue, glowing water. What I now know was bioluminescent algae. And inside this rather massive patch of blue glowing water were squid that appeared to be 15 to 20 feet long. You could catch their outline by the light from the water. I stared at what was multiple squid passing by for minutes, what seemed like an eternity, and then the light started going away in the spot I was staring. There was still a lot of glowing water. We weren't headed out of it, but this patch gets darker and darker until pitch black. A solid 15 seconds of intense curiosity. Suddenly, a lot of turbulence, and a whale surfaces. It had snatched up all the squid. The whale cocked to one side and looked at the ship, and our eyes met, I want to think. It studied the ship for a moment until just sinking back down into the glow of the water masked it completely. I noticed some of you that maybe was just an example of the majesty and
Yeah.
the beauty and the incredible vastness and true wonder of nature.
Yeah. It was an excellent reading, by the way.
Thank you. For me, though, that was hell. Just reading it.
Yeah.
Not even me. If I was there, I don't think I would have made it.
I sensed that.
Yeah, I really don't think I would have made it. I would have my heart would have probably just exploded right away. So, folks, we will come back to this topic, of course, but for now, that's going to wrap us up for Sea Monsters. What's Kraken?
Maureen, thank you so much for that fascinating episode.
You're so welcome. Don't say I never gave you anything. I'm horrified and I actually feel sick to my stomach.
Well, I hope it's not seasickness because, Maureen, I got a list of names I wouldn't mind setting sail with.
Here we go.
Folks, give it on up for our top-tier Patreon subscribers. Of course, the Dream James Watkins, the Finished Face Via Lungfist, the Madman Marcus Hall, the Vivacious Vicky McHugh, the Tenacious Teresa Hackworth, the Heartbreak Kid, Chris Hackworth, the Oh-So Suave Sean Richardson, the British Bone Breaker, Bex Martin, the Notorious Nicholas Barker, the Terrifying Taylor Lashmet, the Count of Cool Cameron Corliss, the Archduke of Attitude Adam Archer, the Sinister Sam Kiker, the Nightmare of New Zealand Noeline Vivilli, the Loathsome Johnny Love, the Carnivorous Kevin Bogey, the Killer Stud, Carl Staub, the Firestarter Heather Carter, the Conqueror Christopher Damian Damaris, the Awfully Awesome Annie, the Murderous Maggie Leach, the Serve Sexy Sam Hackworth, the Evil Elizabeth Riley, Lauren Hellfire, Hernandez Lopez, the Maniacal Laura Maynard, the Vicious Karen Van Buren, the Arch Nemesis Aaron Bird, the Sadistic Sergio Castillo, the Rapscallion Ryan Crum, the Beast Benjamin Huang, the Devilish Chris Doucette, the Psycho Sam, the Electric Emily Zhang, the Renegade Corey Ramos, the Crazed Carlos, the Antagonist Andrew Park, the Monstrous Michaela Schur, the Witchy Wonder J.P. Weimer, the Freaky Ben Forsyth, the Barbaric Andrew Barry, and the Mysterious Marcella.
Dylan, thank you so much for reading off those names that I just love so dearly. And thank you so much to our top-tier Patreon subscribers. Gosh darn it, we love you. Thank you to all of our Patreon subscribers with a special extra shout-out to the Slayer Sarah Thompson, of course. Thank you so much to all of you. And of course, no matter, even if you're not a Patreon subscriber, don't worry. We still love you so much. Thank you for being here. And if you are a fan of the show, please like, rate, subscribe, leave a review. We would love it. 5 stars, of course, would be ideal.
Yes, please.
And just, we hope you have a great day out on land.
Citizens of the Milky Way, my name is Dylan Hackworth.
I'm Maureen Bogey.
Good night and goodbye.